flash sale. Okay, let me run through this. Save 50% on your first year to BamaInsider.com. Get a $50 promo code to the Rivals fan store so you can get Bama gear. Get 3 free additional months on BamaInsider.com. The promo code when you sign up is BAMA1 verse 2. See the description in the comment box. This promo code is only valid while supplies last, so be sure and sign up at BamaInsider.com. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I want to get your calls, and I totally really want to get into it. Thank you, Dave, for the comments. I'll make sure that we're good. We should be fine on this end. I'll take your calls in just a minute. You've been watching all our previews, and appreciate all the comments on those. And let's get right into it. Let's look at how these two teams matched up, and then I'll take your guys' calls at 205-686-3604. So let's look at the way that these two teams stack up, and then I'll take your calls, and we'll get going on BamaInsider.com. All right, so let me get with this, and here we go. Let's start out. Where should we start out? I hope you guys have been checking out those previews on BamaInsider.com. I know that we've been getting a lot of feedback. Hold the calls, and let's first look at the Alabama passing game versus the LSU pass defense. And as you can see, Alabama's passing rank is number 5 in the country behind Tua Tagovailoa. Now, the defensive pass rank for LSU, number 60, which is a little bit surprising considered the amount of talent that LSU has, with Grant Delpit and Derek Stingley. We can talk about more of that later on in the program. Passing yards per game, 338 yards per game. Passing yards allowed per LSU, 217 yards per game. PFF passing grade for Alabama, 81.2, which I feel is kind of low. I don't know. I mean, Alabama's been balling out, right? Tua's been doing his thing. Coverage grade for LSU on the other side, 90.4. PFF grade for the receivers is 89.4. PFF coverage grade for LSU, as mentioned, 90.4. Red zone scoring touchdown percentage, 65.7. And red zone defense percentage on LSU is 57%. As we continue to move forward, we look at the Alabama run game versus LSU run defense. What do you guys think? How do you think Najee Harris and Brian Robinson are going to fare against LSU? Rushing yards per game, 168. Rushing yards allowed per game for LSU, just 99. I mean, this is a very stingy defense for LSU. They got some big boys. Tyler Shelvin is a monster of a man. National rank for Alabama, 64. So just like LSU, you don't think Alabama anymore and think their run game, although they can run the ball. Najee Harris has been very effective over the last couple of weeks, and so is Brian Robinson. The run grade, Pro Football Focus, 85.3. Run defensive grade for LSU, 94.3. When we look at the trenches, Alabama O-line versus LSU's defensive line, Alabama's passing block grade, 80.5. LSU's rushing grade is 74.2. LSU's defensive line grade is 94.3. I mean, they're very impressive defensive line. They rotate a lot of bodies. Alabama's only allowed 9 sacks on the year. LSU has 20 sacks on the season. LSU passing game versus the Alabama secondary. Now, Joe Burrow has been balling out. Number 2 overall in the country. Now, Alabama's secondary, they're number 15 in the country. The passing grade for LSU, 91.5. The coverage grade for Alabama, 92.3. This is going to be a fantastic matchup. I mean, Joe Burrow has some very dangerous targets on the outside. These guys have been playmakers. Alabama has been playing at a great level in the secondary. I want to get your calls tonight and talk about this matchup right here. The receiving grade for LSU, 84.3. Got some great wide receivers, and passing yards allowed for Alabama, 180.3. Passing per game, 337.6 for LSU. Now, the LSU run game, which I think can be very effective. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and company, they can move the ball. And as you saw, they grounded it out against Auburn when needed. Their rush grade on the year, 87.0. LSU, their run blocking grade, just 71.5. Rushing yards per game, 158. But they can move the ball when they need to. Alabama's defensive run grade, 95.1. This team doesn't allow a lot of yards, only 127 per game. National rank 15. Tomorrow we'll talk about the offensive line versus Alabama's defensive line. And I think right here, this could be a real difference in this game. Their pass blocking grade for LSU, 69.6. Not very impressive. LSU's run blocking grade, as we talked about, 71.5. Allowed sacks, 15. Now, Alabama's defensive line, they don't get a lot of sacks. But what we see from Alabama's pass rush is the fact that Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings have been doing a fantastic job. And I think when we look at this game, I think that is going to come down to Alabama's pass rush and if they can get to Joe Burrow. I think that is really going to be the big difference in this football game. I think Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings, as I start to look more into this game, besides the health of Tua Tagovailoa, I think the fact that if Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings can get heat on Joe Burrow, I think that will be the biggest difference in this game on Saturday. I'm going to open up the phone line, so you guys call in and let's get it going. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. Remember, this is a sign-up special night. You get 50% off your subscription to BamaInsider.com. Get a $50 gift card to the Rivals fan store. You can get Bama gear. You can get 3 additional months on BamaInsider.com. The promo code at checkout is Bama1 verse 2. See the sign-up link in the description box. Call line is open. 205-686-3604. Got our first call of the night. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
West Virginia.
Hello, I can barely hear you.
Hello?
All right. Call in. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. I think when you look at this game overall, you know, it'll be interesting to see what Joe Burrow can do at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think last year, Alabama really ate him up, but you're seeing a completely different quarterback coming into this season. I mean, he has some very electric wide receivers on the outside, but Alabama has some very capable corners. Patrick Surtain has been playing at a great level, and I think Patrick Surtain is really one player that has something to prove. I think in the later games of last season, he struggled. He struggled against Oklahoma. He did okay against Clemson, but he struggled against Georgia as well. And I think going against LSU's very dangerous wide receiving core, he can prove to the country that he's one of the best in the country. And I think Patrick Surtain, just because of his size and I think his playmaking abilities, will do really well against LSU. But, I mean, it's going to be a tall task. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. On the other side, you have Trayvon Diggs. And I think Trayvon Diggs is a player, if you've watched my videos, he's playing some very opportunistic football. In the last couple games, we've seen him return a fumble for a touchdown. We've seen him return an interception for a touchdown. So I think he's a guy that can really change the momentum of the game. Joe Burrow has to know where those guys are at all times. And one thing that we did look at when we looked at Joe Burrow is the fact that he can play. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah,
Dwayne.
Yeah, hey, Dwayne. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it, buddy.
So, let me tell you. I think that we can win this game if Tua's at 90%.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get push off with our offensive line onto the defensive line, and if we can push them back and open a hole for at least 2 seconds, I think Brian or Najee both can get through that hole that quick. And plus, they've got that step off that where they can change direction pretty fast. So if that hole's not open, they're good at moving their spot to another spot pretty fast. They have a better linebacker core than we do, so we got to be aware of that too in our running game. But I think if we can establish a running game and it's successful, it's going to be a long night for LSU. And that's on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, our receivers are second to none. Tua can, as long as they give him a little bit of time, he's going to eat the LSU secondary alive. Granted, they've got some talent in their secondary that we probably haven't seen this year with other teams, but I still do not think they can match the 4 receivers that we have that we go to all the time. Here's my concern: our linebackers. Burrow is an excellent quarterback. He has good vision. He is mobile. And I think if our current linebackers, and I think Harris is not bad. He's improved a lot this year. But I do not think that Shane Lee has the ability to stay with a running back or any tight end doing a slant or a crossing pattern. They're going to leave him standing there. And if Burrow's got the time, he's going to keep getting the ball to him. and they're going to eat us alive.
Hey, Dwayne, well, I appreciate you calling. Yeah, and I think one of the vulnerabilities, especially on Alabama's side, is their linebacking core. I think the Pro Football Focus numbers speak for themselves, and I think the play on the field speaks for themselves. I mean, there's just no way to make up for the lack of experience that these guys have across the middle of the field with Christian Harris and Shane Lee. Now, those guys have improved moving forward throughout the season, but I think when you look on paper, Joe Burrow, where he excels is eating up teams across the middle of the field, similar to what Tua Tagovailoa does, especially 20 yards downfield and across the middle of the field. So, and I think another area is when I watch LSU play and I watch their running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, this young man can make you miss. And there was that series that I talked about today on BamaInsider.com where he completely took over the game. It was in the third quarter. He had 76 yards rushing. They literally abused Auburn. And Alabama, I mean, they need to be able to stop the run in this game. I know it's all about the pass, Tua versus Joe Burrow. But, I mean, these are two teams that can certainly tote the rock if needed. LSU can run the football. They can grind it out. They can play time of possession, keep away if needed. This is a very dangerous team coming into Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kyle, but I think if we can establish the running game and not make our defense have to take so many snaps, I think we can probably control the running game. I like to see Barmore play more downs in this game because I think he's got the talent and he plays off of his blocks really well. I think Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings are going to eat Burrow alive. And maybe that's wishful thinking, but I think they have the talent to do it. And if they make him move a lot and they rush his passes and keep their hands up, especially Terrell, it's going to make him throw high, and that's going to be interceptions for us all day long. I just think I think even if we lose, and I hate to even say that because I'm not that type of person. I believe Alabama can beat anybody, including Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys is my favorite team, by the way. I think if we can rush Joe Burrows and make him not be able to play his game, and one of the other things that we have to do is keep him inside. Don't let him get outside and run because he's got the speed and he can score first downs by himself. Other than that, man, I think we'll do real good. The last thing I have to say is I think if it's a close game and, God forbid, we happen to lose the game, I still think Alabama is the best one-loss team in football, and I think it will push. I think we can push Clemson down to number 5 even if we lose the game. Because if you look at Clemson's strength of schedule, it was pathetic. North Carolina should have beat them. They had the worst officiating I've ever seen in my life against A&M. And one other game that I watched LSU play, their line holds every single freaking play. It drives me crazy, man, to watch that, and the officials are looking right at it and don't call it. But anyway, man, I'll let some other people get some time to call, man. Again, God bless you guys. God bless Alabama, and God bless America. And let's rock and roll this weekend and get a win.
All right. I appreciate the call, Dwayne. Thank you so much for calling in. Good call in to open the show from Dwayne and out in Florida. I appreciate the call. I think one of the great points that he hit on is the fact, calling line is open, by the way, 205-686-3604, is the fact that Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings and even Christian Barmore, those guys playing more. We're going to take this call. Hello, it's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Yes, Edward from San Diego, California.
Hey, Edward. How are you doing today? How was your Sunday?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I love your show. It's awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion. So I understand that LSU's number 1, and they had, obviously, 3 wins against 3 ranked opponents. But those 3 games, for example, against Texas exposed LSU's secondary, and Florida could have easily won that game if their 2 starting defensive players would have played. And Nick's played so bad in the Auburn game, I just feel like Tua is going to expose LSU's weak secondary. And I just want to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, I think, going into this, we're all kind of curious about Tua Tagovailoa's health status, and that's something that we'll find out more as we move into the week. Tomorrow, Monday, Alabama will be back on the practice field. Nick Saban will be speaking at 12 p.m., so you can catch that press conference right here on our YouTube channel or at BamaInsider.com. But I think if Tua Tagovailoa comes and he's healthy, and which I strongly feel he will be for this game, I do think that Alabama has the most dynamic quarterback and most dynamic set of wide receivers in college football. And the thing about it is, these defensive backs for LSU, they're very dangerous. They're very capable of challenging these wide receivers, and you're going to see a lot of future NFL matchups on the field. But I think where Tua Tagovailoa in Alabama is going to excel is the fact that their RPO, the run pass option, is so good, in the fact that they can also run the football so effectively. So if they leave any margin for error across the middle of the field, like we've seen in the past, it doesn't matter how good you are. Tua Tagovailoa can read the field better than anyone else in college football. And if he can stay on target and Alabama's offensive line can keep him clean, I think Alabama will have a tremendous success moving the football on LSU. I think more of the vulnerabilities are within this game are with LSU being able to be effective on Alabama's defense, because as you know, Alabama has, at times 5 freshmen starting on the defensive side of the ball. There's just no way that these guys have the experience or have faced a talented team like LSU. I know there's 2 teams practice against each other, but in the game situation, the speed is 100 times faster.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And in that Florida game that LSU beat Florida, I watched the whole game, and they didn't even touch Trask the whole first half. They didn't get no pressure on him.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with Tua, with the 4 receivers that we have, I just feel like it's going to be impossible for LSU to win that game. And I think LSU is going to try to win a shootout against us. And I just don't think that, I think their best shot to try to beat Alabama is to try to keep Alabama's offense off the field. The other point that I wanted to make is a lot of people have said that they felt like Alabama's run game this year hasn't been what it has in the past. But if you look at Najee Harris's yards per carry, it's almost like 6 yards a carry.
Sure.
And I think with Deontay Brown being out the first 4 games, obviously that hurt our offensive line. But I feel like going forward, our offensive line is not only one of the best in SEC, but I feel like they're consistent in the run in the pass. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I mean, the fact that Deontay Brown has been back since his first 4-game suspension, you've really seen this offensive line develop a strong continuity and really solidify itself. You think with Landon Dickerson moving over to the center position, now you have Evan Neal at guard, who, he's a freshman, so he's still growing, but Nick Saban likes him at that guard position. You have Landon Dickerson, who's done a great job at center, and then you have Deontay Brown. And when you get those 2 guards pulling, Najee Harris, I mean, those are like 2 school buses in front of you. You're opening lanes so you can really get into that second core. And Najee Harris has been a very patient runner. And I think when he needs a blow, Brian Robinson has also proven that he can be effective and have that extra 4-wheel drive. And he's really been impressive as well. And I think you'll see a lot of Brian Robinson and Najee Harris in different situations on Saturday. But I think you make a great point with the fact that Deontay Brown is back. Alabama's offensive line has really looked better. And I think you bring up another great point in the fact that LSU, and at least looking at film and looking on the numbers, I'm a real stat guy. I really like to look inside the numbers. They don't have a strong pass rush. This isn't a team that gets to the quarterback a lot. Kavon Chasen is their best defensive pass rusher. He only has 2 sacks on the season. So this is a team that doesn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I think the fact that Alex Leatherwood and Jedrick Wills are 2 of the best offensive tackles in college football, those 2 aren't going to allow anyone to get to Tua, but I'm kind of curious to see what Alabama will do with injured Miller Forrestall. He's a tight end. He's also used in blocking situations, so you're going to have Major Tennyson in there, and that'll be a big role. So hopefully Tennyson can provide some protection for Tua. That'll be interesting to see. But Kavon Chasen is LSU's best pass rusher, and it'll be interesting to see if he can get to the quarterback on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then I got one last point.
Sure.
Now, for example, for last year, Terrell Lewis was out most of the year, and Diggs was out also. And so I think with those 2, having a shutdown corner and then Jennings and Lewis, putting pressure on the quarterback, I think the key is going to be we have to get after Burrow, because if you give him all day to throw, he's going to find one of the 3 receivers. But the last thing is about Christian Barmore. It seems to me like he's got some great talent, It just seems like maybe he lacks discipline at time. But do you feel like he should get more playing time? Because I feel like he's huge. Like, we really need him going forward. He could be a good asset.
Yeah, I think you bring up another great point. I mean, this has been an excellent call. I sincerely appreciate you calling in. I think when you look at Christian Barmore, it's certainly been a case of, he's just a young guy. He's still young, but I think he has a tremendous amount of talent. I mean, he's only plays 15 snaps a game, 10 snaps a game, and it seems like those 10 to 15 snaps a game are so impactful. Every single time he's on the field, he's either chasing down the quarterback, getting a penalty, or, getting to a running back because he causes so much damage in the backfield. I would like to see him play more. They have swapped him in more on third down situations, and they get DJ Dell out of those run situations. So I think you're going to see Christian Barmore eventually have that breakout game, maybe 2 sacks. I'm not saying it'll be this game, but at some point you're going to see Barmore really transition, and it's going to be hard for the Alabama coaching staff to continue to keep him off the field if he can keep his mental disposition, because he has a tremendous amount of talent. And I think once Raekwon Davis exits the program, I think Christian Barmore will fill right in, and he'll be even more effective than what Raekwon Davis is doing. And he's doing a good job. He's a senior. He has 33 tackles, but I think Barmore, he seems like he's playing angry. It seems like he really wants to get after the quarterback and really want to prove himself.
Correct. Like he's got a chip on his shoulder type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say I think you're awesome. I love your show. Me living out here in San Diego, California, like it's nice to hear your show every week and hear the feedback. And the last thing I just want to say real quick is I hear a lot of people talk about how our strength of schedule this year regarding Alabama has been weak. But on the other end of the spectrum, like I feel like we've had to start 4 or 5 freshmen on defense almost the whole year. And I think that, like, if you look at the defense now compared to, like, the first 3 or 4 games, not only statistically and, giving up, less points the last couple of weeks, I think they've really matured a lot. And I think that seasoning is only going to help going forward. The one concern that I have in the LSU game is my concern is that maybe they may try to get, like, a running back against Shane Lee and try to expose them there. So what's your feedback on that? Do you see them trying to use that angle or?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm certainly trying to go after Alabama's inside linebackers. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's been times this season where LSU has gone 5 wide and they've gone over the middle of the field. So I'm not sure if they'll keep Shane Lee inside in those situations. They'll sub him out and just have Christian Harris, who's the more athletic inside linebacker, out of the 2. But I'm going after Alabama's inside linebackers. And like I said on my videos that I posted before, LSU is going to be really excited to see Christian Harris as he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So there's a lot of guys from Louisiana on this squad. Shaheem Carter's another one. And he could potentially be a vulnerability when you look at those matchups. He's a shorter defensive back that has allowed a couple passes this season. But yeah, I think Shane Lee going against Clyde Edwards-Helaire out on the outside is not a good matchup for Alabama at all. That is one of the best running backs people don't talk about. I mean, LSU has a very dangerous running back. If LSU continues to go to him in this game, it could be a big problem for Alabama.
Correct. I agree with you. I'm giving you my prediction, though. I say Alabama by at least 10, though. That's my prediction.
All right, yeah, 10. I mean, when the line came out in Vegas, they had it 9.5, and then it dropped down a couple points. But 10 points, that's a good margin for a game at Bryant-Denny. We'll have to see how it holds out. But I appreciate the call, Edward, and you keep calling in, man. It was a great call and an even better connection, man. I don't know, you're calling and it sounds crisp. So we'll continue to call in, all right?
All right, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, take it easy, buddy. Yeah, Edward out in San Diego. Have family out in San Diego. I used to live in California for a little while. Redondo Beach. Holler at me if you're in California. Been to Pacific Beach many a times. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, yeah, I agree with your last caller. Alabama wins. It'll be by 10 or more. I think they'll pull away from LSU. Some of the other callers said that if Alabama would still lose, that he could see them. Well, he believes they should keep Clemson out. That's just not going to happen. If they lose, Clemson will not be left out of the playoffs for any one-loss team. unless Clemson loses the game. That's just the way it is this football season. It's like Clemson's pathetic schedule, which, I mean, you just couldn't get an easier schedule in all of college football, the history of college football, I think, than Clemson's schedule this year. Alabama or LSU will not make the playoffs unless Clemson or Ohio State loses a game. And this is one game, which is possible. I mean, it's not impossible for Clemson. South Carolina has a possibility of trying to do it, but that's really the only way. And going back to the with Ohio State, I feel people want to get Ohio State to jump Alabama in the polls, and I just don't see how that's. I remember seeing what Ohio State's schedule is better than Alabama. I just don't see it. Their best game was against Wisconsin. And if I had to bet my house on a game between Texas A&M and Wisconsin, I picked Texas A&M, which is Alabama's toughest team that they play so far on their schedule. I think Texas A&M is a better team than Wisconsin is. So I'm just not seeing Ohio State being this team that some people want to put as number one team in the nation or the most complete team. But not based on their schedule. I'd like to see them play somebody with an offense. I have yet to see that. All right, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, number one, I think Ohio State is a good football team. I think they're a very complete football team. I think Justin Fields has done a great job. I think their win over Wisconsin was convincing. I think they're certainly a top four team. Are they, the number one team out of the top four? Probably not. I would probably say LSU number one, Alabama number two, or reverse those teams. I would say Ohio State. And I think you still got to keep Clemson in there. Now, I think the thing with Clemson is I absolutely agree with you, Robert. I mean, their schedule has been absolutely trash. They haven't played anybody with a pulse, in my opinion. But they are winning. They continue to win, and I think they have enough quality players to where if they can really start peaking at the right time, maybe Clemson could dabble on into the national championship again. But I mean, are they better than a team like Georgia? I would question that, right? I think everyone would question that. Are they better than a Penn State? I don't know. People would probably question that as well. But the thing is, Clemson continues to win. But, I mean, looking at their schedule, they got NC State, they got Wake Forest, they got South Carolina. As you said, they could probably drop one of those games. They should have lost that earlier game against North Carolina. But right now, I think LSU, Alabama, and Ohio State certainly a cut above the rest. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, Alabama, if you really want to talk about it, they haven't played the most daunting of schedules. I mean, they played one team inside the top 25 thus far, which was against Texas A&M. They took care of business, but this will be their first real opportunity this coming Saturday to showcase what type of a team they are against a very quality team in LSU. I mean, LSU has played in some big games this season and won those big games this season. And I think that this is an opportunity for both of those teams to prove that they are the top four team in the land.
As far as the big games, Texas seems like a big game on paper. Early in the season, it's just on paper. Are you as a big game? It's against a good quality opponent. It's later in the season, like about now, that you start to see, okay, that game really wasn't as big as because the Texas game. I'm not counting that anymore. Texas is showing itself. Okay, you weren't legit. You were phony. You were phony. It's a good guess. It was an educated guess, but it's still a guess. We guessed wrong. You're not that good. Florida's the only legit team that I give LSU over a good team. Okay, that's you played one good team. Okay, the consensus as of right now is that's a good team. Burrows, and that's what basically gives Burrows was Alabama. Trask looked average against Georgia.
He's
great against LSU.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just a serviceable quarterback. I mean, Felipe Franks at the beginning of the year was doing great. This guy's continuing to do okay just because Florida has some weapons on the outside. They got that amazing tight end. The win again for LSU to beat Florida is impressive. It's not overly impressive because they're playing with the number 2 quarterback at the time, but I think their win against Auburn, that was a good win. Auburn's a good. I was going to say Auburn's a good football team, but then again, last night, they were just a throw away from losing to Ole Miss. So I think Auburn will rise up. Yeah, I think Auburn will rise up at the right time to play Alabama. Alabama. Are they a good football team? Yes. Can they beat Alabama? Maybe, just because it's the Iron Bowl. But overall, they don't have the quarterback to beat Alabama, in my opinion. Anything else between on your mind between LSU and Alabama, Robert?
Yeah, real quick. Like I said, Trask, against Georgia just looked average, a little below average at best. But he looked good. He looked great against LSU. Burrows, not Burrows. Nix was so terrible.
Yeah.
That Auburn lost because he was terrible in that game. Had he been just good, Auburn could have won that game against LSU.
Mm-hmm.
That's leading me to believe, hey, that defense isn't all that great. I mean, it's borderline not good, because you let an average quarterback look good, look great, and a below average quarterback have a chance to beat you. And and Texas quarterback looked great against LSU's defense, and again against the other defense, he looks average at best. And so I'm wondering, I honestly believe we could win with Mac Jones against LSU. I really believe. I think Mac Jones, if the defense holds up, can do it. Now, I agree with you, LSU's running back. That guy's peaking at the right time. But so are our running backs peaking at the right time. So it's definitely going to be, again, like the game we figure. Oh, what do you think the committee is going to do? 1-2, Alabama, LSU? Because this nonsense of Ohio State, I just don't see it. Jumping either one of these guys, Alabama or LSU, I don't see it. What do you think?
For the playoff committee come Tuesday night, I think it'll be I think it'd probably be LSU number 1, Alabama number 2, Ohio State number 3, Clemson number 4, something like that. I could even see them slotting Alabama at the number 3 spot, just because Ohio State is a healthy team, because the seating committee said that they would take into account Tua's health status. So as I said earlier in the show, we're going to see more about Tua as this week goes, and I think he's going to be fine. But the seating committee said that they're going to look at that going into Tuesday's selection show. So we'll see how it goes. But I appreciate the call. Appreciate the call, Robert. I'm going to jump to the next call, all right? All right, that was Robert in Mobile, always a good caller, calling in, talking about the college football playoffs. Those will be released. The first ranking will be released Tuesday night. Call line is open, 205-686-3604, Tuesday night. And, do they mean anything to start? No. I mean, they're more just about, talking about the rankings, because there's so much football still to be played. As Nick Saban said, it's all rat poison. So they're fun to talk about. It's fun to see where teams are in the rankings, but does it really matter to Tuesday? Not really. I mean, we know what the best teams are. We know where they are. They're playing this Saturday, right? They're playing this Saturday. All right, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, brother. This is David from Halton, Louisiana, and the backside of the enemy lines over here.
You're behind enemy lines, man. I'm glad you're doing all right. So, break down this game. What are you thinking for Saturday, David?
I believe it's going to be kind of what, Vegas or whatever over there saying, 7 points, maybe 7.5. I have Bama 44, LSU 38, give or take a few points. I was watching a video last night of a computer model that a group of young men done, and it broke down some things of LSU and Alabama. Their computer model had yards per carry for teams, pass yards, yards per play, and everything. They're pretty much identical teams in a lot of aspects. Then they broke down nationally, defensively, where they ranked at, and done a SP plus on each team. Alabama is ranked number 8 in the nation in SP plus. Auburn's number 10. LSU is ranked 20th. LSU scoring offense is ranked number 4 with 46.8 points per game. Their scoring defense is 22nd. Passing offense is 4th, tied with Alabama. Rushing offense is number 61 in the nation, at an average of 4.5 yards a carry. Red zone touchdowns, that's one thing right there. LSU has probably one of the best red zone offenses in the nation. They're ranked number 14th in the nation. Alabama's ranked number 45.
Hey,
A lot of these people are underrating. Go ahead.
I've looked at the stats. We've looked at the stats. I put the stats on, the YouTube channel, and we've compared the teams. But I want to know from you, will Alabama beat LSU this weekend, and why?
I believe they will beat out LSU this weekend. One of the reasons why is everybody underrates Alabama's defense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the points that were scored on Alabama's defense, like think about the Ole Miss game earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
it was 52-17 before they took Tua out of the game, and they started bringing in a lot of the younger players that don't get a lot of playing time, and stuff like that. We're short. Our depth is short on defense, like we've talked about several times. We got 4 or 5 true freshmen playing, but they're bringing in some younger guys whenever Bama scores, is outscoring the other team by a big margin. That's why everybody seems to think that Alabama's defense cannot compete against LSU's offense, or we look so bad because of these other SEC teams that are putting up points on what we call trash play. That's what I call it, trash play. We're just bringing in our younger guys, giving them some experience, and next thing you know, Ole Miss scores on us, and they score 2 more touchdowns on us right close to the end of the game. But as a whole, our offense is just as powerful and as strong as LSU's. I believe we're going to see a Robertson and Harris breakout game running the ball this weekend. I believe that Saban and Sarkisian and the offensive line coaches have got a scheme and a plan to be able to break down LSU's defense. The longer that Alabama's offense is on the field, it's going to break down the spirits, and it's going to wear out LSU's defense. I'm not taking nothing away from their secondary. They got probably one of the best secondaries in the nation, but don't take away from Alabama's secondary.
Yeah.
We've got some just as good as corners and safeties as anybody else in the nation. And I believe that we're going to put some pressure on Joe Burrow that he ain't seen in a while. I was watching a little bit of the Auburn game yesterday, and they struggled big time against Ole Miss, and I'm sure there was a lot of missed plays that hurt Auburn, but for them to only win by 6 points against a team who's only won 3 games all year, and they held LSU to 23 points, and almost could have beat them if they had a better quarterback. It makes me really wonder how good LSU's offense and their team really is, because they're coming into Bryant-Denny, stadium, and it's fixing to be a knockdown drag-out. And I almost lost my voice earlier. Me and my brother and one of his buddies was going back and forth, and I'm the only Bama fan here. I have nobody else to defend me. And it got loud and louder and louder. And I told him, I said, y'all talk about our schedule and this and that and the other, but from what I've seen, the performances from these 2 teams that y'all beat, Auburn and Florida, it just makes me really wonder how good that y'all are, because Jake Fromm is, to me, he's a good quarterback, but he's no Tua. He's no Joe Burrow. He's none of that, and they beat Trask and them yesterday, in the swamp of all places, So I think it's going to possibly, from what I think, it's going to be a good game, and I want to see Bama really blow the doors off of LSU. I'd love to see another 29-0, 21-point victory, or might as well just go all out and just say 31-point victory. I'm ready. I'm pumped. You know, I don't want to have to shave my eyebrows off if I lose this bet, but you know, I really do think it's going to be a really good game. I think the first quarter, maybe into middle of the second quarter, it's going to be one of those kind of feeling each other out games. You know, starts, and then after that, it's going to really get really, really good. And I believe Bama just has too much power offensively, especially the way we utilize our running backs in the passing game. And we talked about the LSU's running back in the past. He's good. You know, he really is. And I don't think he's really elite per se. He's a great quarterback, running back, but I don't think he's elite yet. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's as good as Najee Harris is. Najee's two or three steps ahead of him, you know, because Najee's got really, really good hands for a running back and one his size, you know, and he's not scared to put his shoulder down. He can juke you and he can jump you and he can go under you. He can do anything he wants whenever he's in rhythm. And if they can get the running game going good this weekend, I think LSU can stop Bama at all. And all I want to say is 9 in a row. Roll Tide, baby, and you have a good weekend, brother.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it, David. Good call from David out in Louisiana behind enemy lines, calling into the show. Appreciate it. Looking forward to getting his reaction on Sunday night after the call and see after the game, seeing what his family has to say after the game. Hey, call line is open 205-686-3604. Sign-up special is going on at BamaInsider.com. Get 50% of your annual subscription to BamaInsider.com. Get a $50 gift card to the Rivals fan store. Get Bama gear. 3 additional months for free on BamaInsider.com. The promo code is Bama1vs2. See the link in the description box. Hey, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would sign up at BamaInsider.com. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Bubba, did you see what Earl Thomas said?
Hey, hello? You there?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the line,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Go ahead.
Did you hear what Earl Thomas said?
Yep, sure did. What'd you think about it?
Man, all I know, if the races were reversed, it would be a hailstorm. You know, some fan sent a letter to Penn State, and it was national news for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN, Fox Sports, all these stations were talking about it. But when that boy Earl Thomas said something like so racist and despicable, ain't nobody said it. Nobody brings it up. The only person I seen bring it up was Clay Travis on Twitter. It should be front page news on every newspaper, every sports station should be talking about this, bring this to light, and it's really disappointing. I really wish someone would bring it up. What do you think of that? Isn't that insane, man? That's some bullshit. Turn up on them, bitch ass.
All righty, got some fired up fans coming in. Hey, if you can't cuss on the show, so just know that coming in. Call line is open. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. And as I was saying earlier, it would be great if you guys signed up for BamaInsider.com. That's how we make a living. That's how we continue to put the staff out on. BamaInsider.com. You got great recruiting scoop from Andrew Bone of BamaInsider.com. Our team writers, Tony Sukalis, and then I wear many different hats as well as the call-in show. So the number to call in is 205-686-3604. There's the sign-up details on the description box, and then I'll put a link in there right there. So the phone line's lighting up. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hunter from Hartford, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, Art? How you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you, man.
No, Hunter.
Hunter. Okay. Yeah. Hunter, yeah. Let's break it down, man. It's that time. It's finally here. What are your thoughts on this game this Saturday?
I want to bring up a point that nobody's brought up yet. So you remember last week's game when we played against Arkansas? Remember in the fourth quarter how you've seen, I believe it was Tyrell Shavers that got his butt chewed out by Nick Saban on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And it was somebody else. It was another freshman that was put in the game that hadn't played very much. And you see how Nick Saban is with these kids. And I think that's what sets Nick Saban apart from all other coaches in college football, is you'll see him, he's constantly teaching these kids, whether it's on the field, off the field, whatever it is. And I think that's what makes him one of the best coach in college football. Is he's chewing these kids out, and we're way ahead. It doesn't matter about the score. And we've seen before when Alabama has a bye week in these big SEC games, I don't think Saban's lost coming off of a big bye week in a big game like this. Mm-hmm. Not that I can recall.
Yeah, I think to get to your point about, Saban really harping on the guys when Alabama's up, I mean, the man obviously demands perfection. And one of the guys that he was chewing out was Ben Davis, right? We always talk about Ben Davis. He's lined up in the neutral zone, and then Arkansas goes and scores a touchdown. Well, think about this. Yeah, Ben Davis got a butt chewing, rightfully so. He was one of the first guys. I follow all these guys on Instagram. He was one of the first guys to wish Coach Saban happy birthday. These guys have so much respect because he's like a father figure to these guys. Treats them well. I mean, the butt chewing is part of the process. He wants you to be better. He wants you to be perfect. And no, I totally get where that's coming from. And as you saw, go ahead.
As he always says, you don't do it until you get it right. You do it till you can't get it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and going into this game, I just think that some of the other callers have brought this up too. Is I'm not convinced by LSU's defensive backs yet. We've seen them get exposed by Texas. They didn't do a great job against Auburn. I mean, I'm just not sold on them. I mean, yes, they have some talent. Don't get me wrong. But as a unit, I'm not sold on them. And if Tua's in the game, I just don't see how they can stop Tua, how they can stop these receivers. You can't guard every single one of them. Their best secondary cannot guard every single receiver. So it's going to be a rough game for them if it gets into a shootout, because I'm not convinced yet, and we'll see how it goes. But I think a lot of it has to do too with how we get off the ground and start going in the first quarter. Building that momentum up in the beginning of the game. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I'm not sold on their secondary yet.
Well, I mean, when we look at the numbers from Pro Football Focus, their corners are Christian Fulter, and then you also got Derek Stingley, right? So these guys grade out very, very well on Pro Football Focus. Derek Stingley, he's only a freshman, 89.8 grade out. Christian Fulton, 85.1 grade out. He's been targeted 41 times, only allowed 18 receptions, and then Stingley 49 times, he only allowed 20 receptions. Now, one guy that I think Alabama could take advantage of is Jacoby Stevens. He's been targeted, get this, 33 times, 26 receptions. That's a percentage grade of 78% of the time he's getting thrown on. So maybe he could be that vulnerability. I talked about that on a video I put together on BamaInsider.com. I think LSU secondary, they'll be the best secondary that Alabama has faced.
For sure.
And, this is the most quality. I'm not really impressed with their defensive line, to be honest. I don't think they have a really good pass rush, but their secondary, I think they're good. They got some good linebackers. We'll see what Tua can do. I certainly think that, he's going to play. I know, Saban's playing that card. I think LSU secondary is good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying they're horrible. I'm just not sold on them as a whole. Yeah. As a whole unit. You have some individual players that are really good. And I think I agree with some of the other things that some of the other callers are saying, is if they can keep Alabama's defense on the field, that's going to be their best chance to win the game. Mm-hmm. Is if they can keep our defense on the field and win the time of possession game. But we'll see. And there's always the slight possibility that Tua is not able to play in this game. And from what I've seen from Mac Jones against Arkansas, when he had a game plan that was just for him, he did very well. Mm-hmm. So we'll just have to see how it all plays out. But I think we win this game regardless of who the quarterback is, to be honest with you. I think our receivers are just too good. All they have to do is get open, and our offensive line's got to protect whoever the quarterback is, and we should be fine on that front.
Hunter, what do you think about LSU running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Do you think that he could pose a threat to Alabama on Saturday?
Yes, he can, and we've seen it all year. We've not been very good at stopping the run. I mean, let's just be honest. It's not the defense that we had 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
But granted, we're young, so you know, those are some things, and I believe that's some of the things that Nick Saban is going to be harping on the defense about this week, leading up into this game, and saying, you know, we've got to stop them. Are you going to let these boys just run over you? Or are you going to be a man and step up and shut the run down? If you shut the run down, then what we can do is, you know, kind of let our safeties drop back a little bit and take away that passing game too. So if you can shut them down in both phases of the game, they're not going to have a chance to win this game at all. So it's all about stopping that run, because if you allow them to run on you, then they're just going to open up with RPOs and try to tear us apart that way. But we have a pretty good secondary. I mean, we're not the best in college football, I don't think, but we're still pretty good and relatively young. To be as young as we are, we're pretty good in the secondary positions.
Hunter, we talked about this earlier on the show. I said this, you know, when looking at the tape, I've been dissecting film. I've been looking at all these numbers, all the analytics, and what I really think it comes down to in this particular game will be the fact that Terrell Lewis is playing at such a high level and Anthony Jennings. And I think if those guys coming off the edge can really pressure Joe Burrow, I think this will be all the difference in the game. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I think that they've gotten better each and every game this year, and it's all leading up to now. This is what they've been playing for. This is what they've been practicing for. You know, but I still think that even if we do lose this game, God forbid, we still end up in the playoffs. I don't think that Ohio, I'm not sold on Ohio State. Let's just put it out there. I don't think they're the number one team. Now, they do have a good quarterback, Justin Fields. I don't think they're a complete football team. They're a good football team, but I don't think they deserve the number one spot. And, you know, even if we would lose this game, I still see a way for us to make it in the playoffs, maybe in the number 4 spot. But another thing I like about this game is going in to have LSU ranked ahead of us is a very good thing, because think about what happened about 5 years ago when we got beat by Ole Miss 2 years in a row. And Nick Saban used that as a motivator. What he did was he posted the scoreboard of that game all over the locker room and all over the weight room and everything, and got these guys motivated. And that's one thing he's good at. And I think this is the thing he's going to be telling these guys all week. Okay, this is what we've been playing for. You know, we got doubters, we got haters. Now let's go out there and show them who we are. And we've seen that multiple times throughout Nick Saban's coaching career in Alabama, where he's gotten teams motivated to play big games.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have to have the guys get up for this one come Saturday. So much on the line, and there's a lot to dive into. But I appreciate you calling in, Hunter. As usual, you always bring such great stuff to the show.
Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, I like to touch on the recruiting stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I call it. What do you think? I know you're not the recruiting, you know, analyst or whatever as much, but who do you think we get now that we didn't get Eric Gilbert? I mean, what do you think we go from here?
It'll be. I'm kind of eager to see what happens with the LSU commit, Rakeem Jarrett. You know, I know Bone just said that. I don't think he's coming back to Tuscaloosa, and that kind of like adds a little bit more drama. But I think the fact that Alabama added on Bryce Young late in this recruiting process, Alabama's going to get someone big. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but I think when you get a quarterback of that caliber, you're going to get somebody. And Alabama's going to get who they want for that particular position. Now, I know Eric Gilbert going to LSU, that was, I mean, nobody knew what was going on. I mean, we thought, you know, he's coming to Alabama, to be honest. And we had graphics made and everything. And then he flips to LSU. He doesn't flip, but he goes to LSU. I think honestly, Eric Gilbert had the talent to be a day one starter at Alabama. I just think his skill set, he's going to be utilized depending on how he's utilized. I mean, kid's a baller. But I think Alabama will be fine. And I think, like I said, Bryce Young, he's a special talent coming in. We've broke it down before. And I think what you saw him do against John Bosco recently, and then again Friday night, you saw he was 17 for 17 passing. I mean, this is a baller coming in who's going to challenge for the starting position next season.
Yeah, well, one more quick thing. I think we're gonna go after hard after Donald Washington, and I think he probably ends up in this class. Now, there's always a chance he goes to Georgia, which is probably where it's trending right now. But I think Alabama's probably going to put the gas on the tune, and I at least I hope we get him. If we don't, there's still some other possibilities, but some kids out there to get. But I think we really make a push for Donald Washington come. Now I think we make and one more thing. There was a kid in my hometown. I live in a small town called Hartford, Alabama, just near Dothan, Alabama. And we had a kid that's in our hometown who got offered by South Carolina. Tennessee has reached out to him, and Charles Kelly reached out to the head coach of the team this past week. So I don't know if Alabama will extend the offer to him, but it's pretty cool to see a kid from my hometown getting some offers from the SEC schools for sure, because we live in such a small town.
Definitely. All right, Hunter. Well, appreciate you calling in, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, take it easy. That was Hunter calling in from just outside of Dothan, he said, in Alabama. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. Call in. I'm going to get some score predictions. I mean, we'll have another show on Thursday. I'll do it from Voodoo Wings, and you can call in and give me your score predictions. By the way, if you're coming in to town from Baton Rouge, or you're coming in to watch the game from wherever you're coming in from, be sure and check out Voodoo Wings here in Tuscaloosa. They have some amazing wings, very good food. Their fries are so fat. Their wings are so tasty. So definitely hit them up. And then you see the sign-up special in the box below me. Sign up now. Take advantage of that. Get some Bama gear. Become a premium subscriber at BamaInsider.com. What are you waiting for? Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, how you doing, Kyle? This is Frank calling from Hawaii.
Hey, what's up, Frank? Good to hear from you again, buddy. How's what time is it out there?
It is 5:25.
All right, man. You still got the whole day, man.
Yep.
All right, man.
Finishing up my meal prep.
Yeah, I remember last time you were making food for the wife, man. You know what's up, man. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
So what's up, man? What's on your mind?
I'm trying to meal prep. I'm just thinking about the game coming up this Saturday. My personal opinion, I think the game is going to be won and lost on Raekwon Davis' shoulders.
Okay.
We know they're going to try to run the ball at us. And Joe Burrow, I'm going to just tell people stop saying it. He's not a sneaky athlete. The kid is athletic. Like, he was an all-state basketball player. He's athletic. So if we can't push the pocket from the middle and keep him in the pocket, we might be in for a long day.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing that I like about Joe Burrow is he's tough. I mean, I've seen him get hit. And I've seen him pop right back up, right? I mean, the dude
he's not flying too much.
I mean, the transformation that the kid made year over year, too, is remarkable, because I was at that game last year, and everyone, like, nobody was talking about him like they are this year, but they were like, Joe Burrow was going to do something. Went into Baton Rouge, and I don't think anybody was impressed, right? I mean, now he's just, like, balling out of control.
Yeah. I think it's just Joe Brady. I won't be surprised if Joe Brady ends up at Florida State with the head coaching job there, because he finally took the handcuffs off. The rest miles, run left, toss right. He took the handcuffs off him and let him throw the ball, because the kid went to Ohio State, so he wasn't a scrub. I mean, he just happened to lose to J.T. Barrett. So I think when Joe Brady took the handcuffs off, and you got 4 or 5 5-star receivers out there, they just let them do what the same transformation we did. We got Lane Kiffin just opening it up. So I think that also helped out a lot too.
Where do you see any mismatches in this game, or what type of matchups do you like when you look at the matchups on both offense and defense, Frank?
I like our matchup against our D-line, our O-line versus their D-line, because I don't think they got any pressure from the middle. I think Chason, they only pass rusher, so if we chip him with, I think Major Tennyson, is he out, or is it other tight end that's out?
Forrestal's out, Tennyson's in.
Yeah, he's got the blocker. So we chip him, Chason, or we just try to run the ball, add him down the middle. I think that's what our big advantage is. I think the secondaries are both, they cancel each other out. They're gonna give their receivers problems because Fulton and Stingley, they are first round draft pick corners with Grant in the backside. So both secondaries are gonna each have 3 first round members. I don't think their linebackers is not as good as last year. I think our advantage would be our O line. That's our big advantage in the game.
Yeah.
We can establish the run, so we can run the play action RPO off that. I think we'll definitely give them more problems than they're ready for. But Raekwon Davis has to lead this, and he has to stop Clyde Edwards-Helaire from doing what he's been doing all season.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's a problem. He's a major problem. I think I'm if I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide defensive coach, I'm scheming to make sure that he don't get outside the box because the dude is a bowling ball, 5'9", 210 pounds, and he can run. I mean, he ran against Georgia. He ran against Georgia hard in the second half. And like you said, I mean, LSU's wide receivers on the outside, man, they're so talented. Terrace Marshall, 6'4", 210 pounds. He's tough to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Him, Jefferson, Chase, and they got the big tight end, receiver Sullivan, who I think is almost 6'7".
Yep.
And that's Alabama kryptonite. Alabama kryptonite is if you got big receivers who can catch the 50-50 balls, and a quarterback that's athletic.
Yeah.
So, because I was talking to my brother over the last, I think, 5 years, the only quarterback that's beat us are QBs who can run.
Mm-hmm.
If you can move, problems. So, hopefully we can keep him in the pocket and make this game, get it out of here early.
Yeah, like you said, even Justin Jefferson, I'm looking at 87.0 grade out on Pro Football Focus. He's 6'3", 192 pounds. I mean, Terrace Marshall, 6'4", 200 pounds. Jamar Chase, 6'1", 200 pounds. Thaddeus Moss, they like to go to. He's more of their blocking tight end. Big boy, 6'3", 250. So, yeah, I mean, so many weapons on the outside. What do you think about those inside linebackers, Frank? Do you think they're going to have trouble on Saturday against LSU?
I think when they go 5 wide, have them playing in space, I think that's going to give us problems. So that's what I'm hoping we get Ben in, who's a little bit faster, a little bit more. He's upperclassman a little bit, so hopefully get him in and play a little bit more zone. I just don't want to get into the Clemson game again where we're playing man and bump and run the whole game, and they're just going to back shoulder us or crossing route us to death. Play some zone blitzes, make Burrow think, make him nervous. And hopefully we protect our linebackers. I know they're going to scheme to get these linebackers in space and to make them make decisions. Yeah.
Anything else, Frank, when you're breaking down this game, man, while we have you on the line?
Another thing, I think this was where Lewis going to make his first round money yet. I think this is the game that if he's been getting there, get a couple sacks a game, he'll get close, get some pressure. But I think this is the game that he makes his money at. He's going to show the world that, hey, when I'm healthy, it's not just Chase Young. I'm up here, too, as one of the best pass rushers in the nation.
Yep.
So I think he's going to make his money on Saturday. And then also Najee Harris will make some money, too. I think he's going to make some money as well. But showing everybody that he's not just a 5-star. And with his turn, he's actually the man to go ahead and lead the team.
Yeah, I said it earlier in the show, and I've said it a couple times. I mean, I think Terrell Lewis, the way he's playing, will be the difference maker in this game. If he can get to Burrow, same with Anthony Jennings. I mean, those two guys can make a lot of money on Saturday. If they can get to the quarterback, and I think they can change the momentum of the game. I think a big sack can translate into a knockdown pass that turns into an interception. And sometimes just getting pressure on the quarterback is even better than the quarterback sack. As we saw against Arkansas, when Terrell Lewis got to the quarterback, it wasn't a sack. It turned into a pick six by Trayvon Diggs. So, I mean, Terrell Lewis, Anthony Jennings have to get to the quarterback. Raekwon Davis isn't going to get to the quarterback. DJ Dell's not going to get to the quarterback. Barmore is. But those two guys, Lewis and Anthony Jennings, it's pivotal that those guys play up in this game. I can't even imagine the amount of NFL scouts. Everyone's going to be at this game in Tuscaloosa.
Every scout,
everybody,
every commentator, anybody who does any kind of grading going to be at this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably on both, probably, what, 35 draft picks on the field between both offense and defense.
Yeah, it's an NFL game. Yeah, it's an NFL game.
So it's going to be definitely a great game. So I just want us to play the game. Don't get into Tua for Heisman versus Burrow. Let's play the game to win.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff, Frank. I know you're meal prepping, man, so I'll let you get back to it. But I appreciate you calling in. Please call again next time. It's always great to hear from you, and we'll catch up with you next Sunday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Frank. All right, Frank calling in from Hawaii. Also want to say thanks to Frank. He's in the military. So if you're a member of the military out there, we appreciate what you do for this great country. So thank you very much. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Where are you calling in from? Who am I on the line with?
Hey, it's Shay from Dothan again.
Hey, what's up, Shay? How you doing? Hey, you blew it up last time, Shay. You had the call of the day last time. Yeah, that blew
I know,
up.
right?
Yeah, that was good. You had good
Okay.
stuff. All right, so this is round 2. You're up. You're on the mic. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm getting ready for bed over here. If you hear my background, it's crazy. So, okay, to piggyback off what the caller before said, the whole notion that mobile quarterback gives Alabama fits, I think we can kind of throw that away now, because if anything, it gave Kirby Smart fits. Because he was our DC at the time. And I just think we need to get rid of that notion that running that mobile quarterback gives Alabama fit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be the case. It might not be the case. I mean, I think when you look at a quarterback that was as fast as Jordan Plumlee, I mean, that guy, he gave Alabama plenty of fits. I mean, and he's just an average quarterback, so to speak.
Yeah, but he also gave who they played. I think they played Auburn. He gave them fits too.
Yeah,
so,
he did. I mean, that game, Auburn. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought they were gonna lose to Ole Miss last night.
Yeah, I mean, they were like close to losing. So, but I just think that whole notion, because last year we didn't really have an issue with Kyler Murray, until like garbage time.
Yeah.
They took their feet off the gas. So so that's I was just thinking about that. But what do you think about Mac Jones? Like, if Sarkisian can give him a game plan, do you think he can have success against LSU?
I mean, if Mac Jones was to play against LSU and Tua cannot go in that game, I think that Mac Jones, I think he can do what he did, in terms of being a good quarterback. But I don't know if he can beat LSU. I don't know if he can beat those corners. I don't know if he can beat a Grant Delpit. I don't know. I think the game is, a coin flip game. With him at quarterback, I don't know if Mac Jones can beat LSU. It's no disrespect to Mac Jones. I just think that LSU is just a very good football team with, their secondary is good. I mean, I'm not too concerned about their defensive line. Their linebackers are okay. It's just that secondary, in my opinion, is very good. And I'm not sure if Mac Jones can beat that secondary. But the thing is, if you can drop a game plan to where you can, get creative and get Jerry Jeudy the football, get Jalen Waddle the football, get him a lot of touches, get Najee Harris and Brian Robinson the football, then, I mean, there's so much talent on the Alabama offense, then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Alabama wins no matter who the quarterback is. Maybe they win with Talia Tagovailoa at quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm kind of sold on Talia this yet. Maybe because he's still, he's only a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what you said.
I just think there's just so much talent.
Wondering, I think the weakness in that secondary, honestly, is Christian Fulton. He was abused last season as well. I don't know. Maybe I look to him to kind of redeem himself in that game. But I think the person who their weakness in that secondary is Fulton. And with Grant Delpit, he's been exposed as well, but I just think they asked him to do a lot.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's dangerous. I've seen him make special teams plays. He does a lot, and you're right. They ask him to do a tremendous bit. There's a guy on their team his name is Jacoby Stevens. He plays. I talked about him earlier. He has the worst Pro Football Focus grade on their defense. I believe he's a safety, so maybe they can take advantage of him. Other than that, they look solid across the field. Anything else, Shay, while you're on the phone?
No, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. Like I said, you hit the home run the last call, so I appreciate you calling in. Be sure and keep calling in because we sincerely appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
All right, Shay, calling in from Dothan. Good caller. All right, number to call in, 205-686-3604, breaking down Alabama and LSU. I want to hear from you. We haven't really had too many score predictions, right? I think David from Louisiana was the only one that came in, and he was just like, Bama winning by 10. And then he was out. So sign-up special is going on. It's going to last for a couple days, so be sure and take advantage of it. Become a member of BamaInsider.com. What are you waiting for? Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
I'm Jared from Oak Grove, Alabama.
All right, buddy. What's up, man? How was your Sunday?
Good, very good.
All right, so you got Alabama, LSU taking place on Sunday. What are your thoughts going into this game?
My thoughts are that if Tua doesn't play, we're not going to win the game.
You don't have any confidence in Mac Jones?
Well, he did good versus Arkansas, but LSU is just another animal.
See, I agree. I'm with you. I think that, I think he's a good quarterback against average teams, but I think in this level of environment, and I think with the defensive secondary, as I mentioned to the last caller, I'm not sure if Alabama can scheme enough to beat LSU. Now, let me ask you this. What if Steve Sarkisian was develop an offensive game plan to get creative enough and do some jet sweeps and get the ball to Najee Harris and Brian Robinson? Does that change your mind if Alabama grounds and pounds? Do you think in that case they beat LSU, or do you think just no Tua, they don't win this game?
Well, I think just no Tua, they don't win this game because Mac Jones, it's just way better with Tua. Because
What else? I mean, what about your excitement for this game? I mean, it's the biggest game that Alabama's played all year. I mean, other than this, Alabama has only played one team in the top 25, which is Texas A&M. So really, this is the biggest game of the season. Are you pretty fired up about this game?
Yeah, I probably won't sleep Thursday through Friday.
You and the whole state of Alabama, right? That Alabama fans are probably so geared up for this game.
Yeah.
Do you think that the defense can stop Joe Burrow? And what do you like about? Do you like anything about LSU's quarterback Joe Burrow? Do you think he's worth the hype?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think we slow them down enough though to win the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alabama, the thing is, we haven't really talked about Alabama's secondary, but I think Alabama's secondary with Patrick Surtain, who I think really has an opportunity to prove he can play against big-time talent. He's having a good sophomore year. There's been a couple games where he's kind of slumped a little bit, but Trayvon Diggs has been playing excellent at that corner position. And then another guy that we haven't even mentioned on the show has been Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney was the defensive MVP of the Orange Bowl last season. He's Alabama's alpha in the secondary at the safety position. And then you have Jordan Battle and Jared Maiden back there as well. So Alabama has a lot of their leadership and a lot of their veterans in the secondary. And we didn't even talk about Shaheem Carter. So Alabama has certainly a very good secondary. So maybe they'll be able to stop Joe Burrow. But I just think when I watch tape and I look at these LSU wide receivers, I think they're very dangerous.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you watching, and please call again next time.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, buddy. All right. Young gun calling in. Appreciate it. I got a 10-year-old, so those guys love their football. My son actually went as Tua Tagovailoa. He went with a boot. He went out trick or treating. He was one of those kids. So. Football's big around these parts. Call line is open. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in as we continue to break down this game. Someone's eating up the chat. Let me delete their comments real quick. All right. All right. We got another call coming in. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Hunter Griffin from Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Hunter? How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good, man. How's your Sunday?
It's pretty good. Not much going on.
All right, man. What's up? You're on the line. Go ahead, shoot.
I think Terrell Lewis will make enough big plays, and Anfernee Jennings will get enough pressure on Joe Burrow to just because whenever I watched the Auburn LSU game, Joe Burrow didn't do too good under pressure. Like, he did okay, but I think Auburn could have beat them that game if Bo Nix was a little bit better quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. I think they had a lot of opportunities too in and around the red zone where they just didn't capitalize on. So I think another area of focus for this particular game would be Alabama's success inside the red zone. And I'm not talking about kicking field goals. I'm talking about scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think people are underestimating Alabama's defense. I think Shane Lee and Christian Harris have really stepped up.
Yeah, I think when you look at those guys, just because they're freshmen, they are vulnerabilities, but they have grown as the season has emerged. Just like on the offensive side, Evan Neal. I mean, he started out the season even against Duke. He didn't fare that well. And then over the course of time, he's been playing a lot better. But I think the thing that concerns me with these linebackers, and I agree with you, the defense is better than what we're giving them credit for. But and Saban has said this himself. I mean, there's no substitute for experience. I mean, can you imagine Shane Lee and Christian Harris last year? These guys are playing high school football, and now they're going up against these electric wide receivers from LSU, a top running back, and Joe Burrow. So that's where I think the vulnerability is, just in the lack of experience, not in the lack of overall athleticism or talent.
Have we heard anything about LeBron Ray being back for this game, or
no,
is he still out?
LeBron Ray is out. I got a lot of questions. I'll kind of answer some injuries updates real quick. So I get a lot of questions on LeBron Ray. Now, Nick Saban said last week he was asked about a status update on LeBron Ray. LeBron Ray is Alabama's talented defensive end who went out earlier this season. No status update on him, so don't expect him to be even questionable for this week. Same with Trey Sanders. Now, I saw recently that Trey Sanders has started running on the Ultra G. That's their anti-gravity machine that Alabama has, but I don't expect him to be back. Same thing with Joshua McMillan and Dylan Moses. I mean, I think that all those guys right now are out indefinitely. And then you can also add Miller Forrestall, who's out, looks like 5-6 weeks with that injury to the throat that he suffered against Arkansas.
All right. But yeah, I'm not going to take much of your time, but I really think Alabama's outside linebackers are really going to contribute this game.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Hunter. Well, thank you so much for calling in from Georgia. I appreciate it. Please call again.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right. Hunter from Georgia, I appreciate the call. Just like I was saying, I mean, I think with this game, I mean, once I've broken this game all down, I think it comes to Alabama's pass rush. If they can get to Joe Burrow and affect him, I think that'll be the difference in this game, along with the health of Tua Tagovailoa. By the way, on Monday, Nick Saban will address the media. He will talk during his Monday press conference. We'll bring that right here on BamaInsider.com, right here on our YouTube channel. Be sure and sign up right now for a special on BamaInsider.com. 50% off your annual account. Get a $50 gift card to the Rivals Fan Store. Get Bama gear. 3 additional months on BamaInsider.com. Promo code is Bama1vs2. See the link in the description box. You can hit me up if you have any other questions. Sign that up, Kyle at BamaInsider.com. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, it's Antonio from Huntsville again. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, big dog? How you doing, man?
Not much, man. Just right now to watch Lamar Jackson shred up the Patriots right now.
Hey, what about did you see what Josh Jacobs is doing out there?
No.
I
know the Ravens.
Josh Jacobs is taking over the world. He's taking over the world. He's like the best running back in the NFL. And I have to, if we really want to talk some NFL, I mean, my 49ers are, I mean, I can say I'm a 49er fan. 8-0, Jimmy Garoppolo, man, where you at? Niners are slicing them up. So what's up, Antonio? What do you think about this game, man?
Like I said, it all comes to pressure on the quarterback. You know, when the game start off next Saturday, I expect LSU to start with quick passing game, just get Joe Burrow in rhythm. So we need to, play a little tighter because I expect that because they know
how Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings, they know they're coming fast, so they got to get the ball out quick. And offensively, I think we set. No matter who starts at quarterback, I think we'll be all right. It's just a matter of fact, how prepared we are. You know what I'm saying? We come out slow, then we gotta start off fast and have the momentum throughout the whole game. You know what I'm saying? And for defensively, like I said, my only concern is, really just one person for it. That's Shane Lee, how he can cover, and not just him. We need Raekwon to be a little consistent, in his little pass rush. Help Anthony and Terrell out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the one person that's been on my mind that I haven't heard much, you said it earlier in the secondary, his name is Shaheem Carter. I haven't heard his name that much at all. Has he even had an interception this year?
No, Shaheem Carter has not had an interception this season, and I'm going to read you his grades real quick. Because I've been like breaking down this game. I can tell you everything about it. Shaheem Carter, he has a grade out this year, 76.9, 28 tackles, 6 pass deflections, no interceptions. He's been targeted 28 times, and he's allowed 17 receptions. In my opinion, I think he's good, but I think because of his height, sometimes if they can create a mismatch, for example, if they can somehow figure out to get Terrace Marshall out against Shaheem Carter, my goodness, that would be the worst mismatch on the football field, So I think Shaheem Carter, he's a good, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, he's listed as 6 foot. I don't think he's 5'9". That could be a big mismatch, right, depending on what's happening out on the field. But he is a good player. He does. I mean, last year he had 2 pick sixes, so maybe he's just waiting for that big breakout game. Yeah. He's from Louisiana, so maybe he balls out against the Tigers.
Yeah, in the past, I see him do well against. You remember Mecole Hardman from Georgia? Mm-hmm. He covered him pretty good. And, Mecole, like a shorter guy, so he probably match up with the shorter, quicker guys, shiftier guys than he does, the guys who got the length or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think all we have to do is, be consistent in our pass rush so we won't have, so Joe Burrow won't have no Heisman-type day against us, you know what I'm saying? And we need, whoever at quarterback, we need the same thing, no matter who at quarterback, the same thing applies, you know what I'm saying? So do your job on offense, do your job on defense. I think we'll be all right. We'll have the number 1 spot, and LSU will drop to 5, 6, wherever they go, but we're going to be at the top.
Yeah, we'll see. I think, you bring up an interesting point. I like your confidence depending on the quarterbacks. I think when you talk to most Alabama fans, I'd be curious to find out their confidence in Mac Jones. I already expressed my, concerns about his ability, but the way that he started playing in the later part of that game when he threw that touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy, that was an incredible pass. Right on the money. I think he really started to settle in. I don't know. This LSU defense, they're not overwhelmingly good, but that secondary, there's a lot of NFL talent on that team. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
But
and I want to say this, Alabama fans, y'all listen to the radio show right now. Look, man, a couple of years ago we had Jake Coker. He was a backup at Florida State. He transferred over and he started. He went to playoffs. He outscored Clemson. Now we scored 45. Wait, probably not 45, but 30+ points for Jake Coker. We get whoever at quarterback, man, we got this, man. So y'all just relax. Bama got this. All right.
All right. Good stuff, Antonio. I appreciate you calling in, man. I always enjoy hearing from you, man. So continue to call in. We'll wrap again on Sunday.
All right, man. I'll catch you next Sunday.
All right, man. Antonio, take it easy, man. Antonio from Huntsville, always a good caller. It's almost time. It's finally here. The LSU Alabama game. Been looking forward to this game since saw it on the schedule. It's always the big one. We knew that Alabama would be here. Weren't sure which team would be here for LSU, but it's this team. It's a Ed Orgeron team that is hungry to prove that they can beat Alabama. Ed Orgeron certainly wants to beat Nick Saban. When you take over as coach at LSU, you have to beat Alabama. But there's, it's been a tall task. And, we'll see how it plays out on Saturday. Another call coming in. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's CFB Jared.
Hey, what's up, CFB? How you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you, man.
I'm doing good. How about you?
All right, so let's break it down, man. What are the key points of this game? I mean, it's finally time. Break it down, CFB.
Well, hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, CFB, we gotta go, man.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right, I'm back. One of the things that I was noticing while looking at this game is kind of eerily similar to leading up to LSU. It's eerily similar to 2011. Where both teams are 1-2. Actually, LSU was number 1 in the AP poll, and Alabama was number 2 that year. It's in Bryant-Denny. There's some other things that I saw that was kind of intriguing, but I really hope this time around we can win. But really, kind of like the last caller said, I'm pretty confident in Mac Jones or Tua, whoever plays. I think we win. Because just the amount of weapons we have on this offense is crazy. You got the 4 receivers in Waddle, Ruggs, Smith, and Judy, and then also an underrated receiving threat, Najee Harris. So that's like a 5th receiver there. And, of course, the running backs with Harris and Robinson started off slow the year, but they've kind of ramped it up as the year has gone on, especially with the O-line play, continuing to get better and better. So I think the offense will be fine. I just think it'll, the key will be turnovers because, if we can get pressure on Burrow and kind of force him to make some risky throws, I definitely think those will be converted into points, whether it's a pick 6 or just the offense goes down and scores, 6 points, because both these defenses, I'm not confident in either defense, to stop high caliber offenses like, LSU and Alabama consistently. It's just if, Alabama can get like maybe 1 or 2 stops, I think we win the game.
CFB, I appreciate you calling in. One of the areas that we haven't talked about within this game is the special teams. Alabama's kicking game, as you know, it's not 100% every time they line up. LSU, they missed a PAT against Auburn. But on the flip side, Alabama has Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs returning kicks and punts. Those 2 guys, LSU has to stay away from those guys. How critical is special teams, in your opinion, in a game like this?
Oh, it's huge because, I don't think this will be a blowout. I think the winner will win by 7 to 3 points because, of course we know what both offenses are going to do, kind of like what I mentioned. It's just, it comes down to the defenses and to special teams. Of course, Alabama's, struggled with kicking. I wonder if Reichard will be able to make it back for this game.
No, I don't think Reichard will be able to make it back. I think the way Nick Saban talked about it last week, he said he was frustrated with the injury, and he said that Reichard was frustrated. So I think you're going to have Joseph Bolivas handling kicking duties. You're going to have Ty Perrine, who's Alabama's amazing punter now, and then you're going to have the other guys, as I mentioned. But I don't think Reichard will be ready to go.
Okay, Bolivas, gosh, I don't know what the hell's up with that guy. Came in the number 6 overall kicker in this class and was kicking like he was a nobody. I don't even know how he got a scholarship the way he kicked last year. But anyway, that guy, you think that, he'd at least be decent considering that he's a sophomore down. He's cleaned up maybe some of those things, but nope. I guess the only positive I can say with him is that he was 2 for 2, I believe, versus Arkansas.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. He was 2 for 2.
Yeah, geez. I get so stressed whenever that guy goes up to kick it. I'd rather just go for it. But, anyway, wait, who's the LSU's kicker? Is it Cade York? I believe that's his name?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, he's from what I've seen, he's not that bad, but he did miss that PAT versus Auburn, which, of course, a missed PAT, a missed field goal here and there could definitely decide the game, as we saw in 2011. I can't remember the kicker for Alabama. That guy missed like 5 field goals. 5. We just needed 2 more to win that game. We would have won that game. But no, of course, he missed 5 and only made, what was it, 2? Yeah. So kicking is huge in this game, and of course, I think the return game will really help the offense. For Alabama, with Waddle being probably the best returner in all of college football. I believe he has like the best average, for a return. But
can you imagine if he broke one in a game like
huge.
this? I mean, the crowd.
Oh man, Brian would go crazy.
My God, it would be amazing. Yeah, he's gonna break one eventually.
That was crazy.
Every time the poor kid gets the football and he breaks like a 30 or 40 yarder, it's like there's some sort of penalty or something always happens. But yeah, it's he's certainly is electric. Yeah, Cade York, and I'm going to break down the special teams here in a couple days, but on the season, looks like he's 11 for 13 with his longest of 48, so a very good field goal kicker, actually.
Yeah, how is he a junior or sophomore? Because I believe he was there last year for them.
It says on their roster, it says he's a freshman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I guess I was confusing him with the guy who they had last year, but
no, it says,
he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, it says
he's
a freshman.
Hit
a 48-yarder against Georgia Southern. He was 3 for 3 against Mississippi State. So yeah, looks like he's solid. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to ask about special teams because we hadn't really talked about special teams on the show, and I think just like you said, I think everybody's nervous when Alabama steps on the field to kick a field goal or even a PAT. We're there at Twitter ready to tweet out the scores, and we have to see the actual ball go through the uprights before we post a tweet. So, anything else, CFB, while you're on the show?
I'm really excited. I'm hoping Barmore can. I know he's kind of already, kind of had like a sack here and a sack there for Alabama, and most Alabama fans know who he is now. But I think he may be able to have a breakout game. The only thing that I think will stop that is these LSU O-line holding, like that I mentioned before. Mm-hmm. If they hold and don't get called for it, I don't know how our pressure we'll be able to get any pressure, considering, that, honestly, I think Auburn could have had a much better chance at winning if some of those holding calls were called on LSU. But anyway, that's a different topic. Barmore, Jennings, Lewis, those are our 3 main pass rushers. I think Barmore and, Lewis is dominant versus Arkansas. He didn't record a sack, but he had 6 quarterback hurries. So, I think he'll be really nice coming off the edge. The speed is crazy with him. His first step is
it's unbelievable.
I don't think I've ever seen a guy like him for Alabama. He's crazy, his first step.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's a clip that I was looking at, and it's Terrell Lewis coming off the edge against Arkansas, and it was when Arkansas was pinned back like on their 5-yard line, and his first step is unbelievable. You talk about a guy that NFL scouts are drooling on, it's certainly Terrell Lewis, and to see him being healthy now, you're only going to see his draft stock continue to rise. But I appreciate you calling in, CFB.
All right. No doubt. Thanks, and keep up the great work.
All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. CFB Jared calling in. I appreciate it. Take a couple more calls. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. Coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's here. The week is here. Nick Saban's press conference will be Monday. You can catch that right here on BamaInsider.com. Be sure and sign up for this sign-up special. It won't last long. It's only available while supplies last. 50% off your first year to BamaInsider.com. Get a $50 gift card to the Rivals Fan Store. 3 additional months on top of your account. Promo code is BAMA1vs2. See the link in the description. Promo code will offer is only available while supplies last. You can email me with questions about the promo to Kyle at BamaInsider.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, Rivals_Kyle. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's going on, Kyle? This is Jared from Buffalo, man. How you doing?
Hey, Jared, what's up, man? Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. I know you've been trying to get in, man, but the phone lines are blazing. So,
oh yeah,
we finally got you in, and we're ready to break it down. So, what do you like about this matchup? What's the good and what's the bad for Alabama?
Well, like I called in earlier, Kyle. This is a very even matchup. Like if you look at the paper, you look at the statistics, it's really even. I think that the difference, or I think what's going to make a difference with this football game is going to be the interior. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that's going to make a difference. I think that if Alabama can handle LSU's interior run defense and their interior pass rush. This is going to be a game that I think that Alabama can dominate for a possession standpoint, because just like I said earlier, I think that both offenses are predicated that you can't really stop them or completely stone them, but you can slow them down as much as possible. Of course, costly possessions such as penalties and turnovers are going to help, but both offenses, they're really, really hard to completely stone. So I think that, this is going to be a game that's going to be dominated by possession. And I think that this is going to be a game where the run game is definitely going to make a credible factor. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Alabama decides to maybe go back to maybe doing old school Bama and maybe giving Najee Harris and Brian Robinson maybe equaling maybe 35 plus carries, establishing more of a run dominance type of game, tiring out the defense. Of course, balancing it out with your passing attack, of course, but having a more slow tempo type of game, because this is going to be a game where LSU's offense, they're capable of scoring, 30 and 40 on you easily. And so I won't be shocked at all if Alabama decides to slow down the pace and really dominate from the trenches.
Yeah, I think that could be a good game plan, Jared, and I appreciate you calling in. Najee Harris, the way he's playing and the way that Brian Robinson is playing, I mean, you make a good point, and the way that the offensive line is playing, the only question mark I had with that running game, and not that he's an instrumental role in that, is the loss of Miller Forrestall for this game. I think Major Tennyson can still fill in and make those chip blocks or do what he needs to do, because sometimes they pull Miller Forrestall to the other side and follow those guards. But other than that, I think it's a good call. I mean, Najee Harris is playing at an extremely high level. I love how patient he's been. He's played much more mature this year. And Brian Robinson, it seems like he's finally found the type of running back that he is, and that's a ground and pound and just really run you over, so to speak. Really like the play of those two. And like CFB brought up on our last caller, he's also a very dangerous wide receiver out of the backfield. I really like how he's caught the ball in those check down situations and made defenders miss. Just Najee Harris just really playing, I think, finally at the level that we knew he could play at. And I think he's only going to get better from here on out. I think when you look at players certainly trending upward, you have Terrell Lewis, who we've talked about a ton tonight. And I think you certainly have Najee Harris, who's also trending upward at the right time.
What would you say, Kyle?
I said that Najee Harris is just trending at the right way. Just he's continuing to play at an exceptional level right now during the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think I think that because of those two guys, they're not the fastest in the world, but they're battering rams, and they're more used to just delivering punishment. That could really just tire out a defense, almost to a point where I don't want to try to make really that much contact with that guy. And I also think too, I mean, if you look at LSU's defense, it's not all that great, but they're more used to trying to at least force possessions to the offense. Like, they're not guys that are going to get a lot of sacks. They're not guys that are going to make a lot of interceptions or force a lot of turnovers, but they really capitalize on offenses making their own mistakes. And I think that's one thing that Alabama can do. They cannot punish themselves this game. They have got to try to play the cleanest game that they can do possibly. I know that we definitely have a problem with substitution actions. We have a problem sometimes with a little bit of false start penalties. We got to play clean on that offensive side of that ball as well. But as far as as far as like LSU goes, I know that their biggest strength is the rushing defense. They're one of the best in the SEC in rushing defense. So I can just imagine if Alabama can go out there, establish the run game, dominate in that type of aspect, I think that will be very, very demoralizing on their defense. And I think that can definitely swing a little bit of a momentum booster to Alabama.
Yeah, when you look at their rush defense, I mean, I think we talked about it even last time you were on the show. I mean, they got some monsters up front. I mean, Tyler Shelvin is I could barely fit him in my computer screen when I'm bringing up his photos. He's, I think, bringing it up right here, 6'3", 346 pounds. Neil Farrell Jr., 300 pounds. They got a lot of big bodies, and they like to rotate a lot of guys in. Their inside linebackers aren't too bad. Their run defense is great, as you said, 94.3, and they're only allowing on the season 99 yards per game. This is a team that's pretty stingy on defense.
Yeah, and that's just their biggest strength. I don't, if you look at the Texas games, the Florida games, besides really the Auburn game, they were so heavily key on stopping the run in that football game, and because they would just rely more on not rely more on, but they know that eventually in the passing game they were going to make a mistake because those guys in the secondary are way too talented that they're going to make plays. Like if you look at the Florida game, Van Jefferson was killing Stingley all game, but they continue to rely on the game plan, play more bump and run coverage, stack the front seven in the box. Do not let LaMichael P. Ryan establish the identity, and eventually Trask made a mistake, which eventually pretty much changed the entire momentum of the game and ultimately won LSU the game. So, yeah, man, it's going to be super important for Alabama to establish the run game. But I also think I'm really kind of interested to see how Bama plays it. Are they going to play like how Auburn does or play their own fashion while they're just going to play straight up man-to-man coverage, maybe have one safety over the help, just try to help out, but play more bump and run coverage? Because Alabama has a better secondary than Auburn, and I think that they definitely have more, as far as bigger size in the nickel positions and the two outside corners. So I'm really interested if they're going to try to bump and run, try to slow down more of the timing between Joe Burrow because again, they rely more on RPOs and it's more about timing. I wonder if they're going to try to do that or maybe move Xavier McKinney or Jared Mason up to try to help Shane Lee out and Christian Harris when it comes to passing coverages because LSU has two good tight ends and Sullivan, I forgot the other guy name, but I know they definitely love to try to kill linebackers, especially when it comes to in the middle. So I kind of wonder how they'll play, whether if they're going to try to slow down the tempo or try to help out the linebackers out by moving the safeties up. I know one thing they cannot do, Kyle, they cannot play zone. They can't do that. LSU wants you to play zone. They want you to play zone so they can use those in those wide receivers in the middle, kill you inside with the slant. They'll take it every single time. So I definitely think that, if you're going to play zone, I would recommend doing a disguise type zone where you can try to have someone – you want them to come to the middle, and then you can try to bait it, kind of like how Clemson did with us. But it's going to be interesting to see how we can play it. Again, I don't think we can stone it, but slowing them down, throwing off the timing, and definitely stopping that run game. You've got to stop the run game. They rely more on balance. If you can stop the balance, it really, really does help. But yeah, I'm just really interested to seeing how Bama plays defense against LSU.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point in the fact that Alabama could play a better matchup man coverage because Trayvon Diggs and Patrick Surtain, these are big and athletic corners, right? 6'2", 200 pounds. You have Xavier McKinney back there who's very good in coverage. Jared Mason concerns me a little bit just because he's not as fast as the other players in the secondary. Shaheem Carter, as I explained, I think height-wise, he presents a mismatch. Jordan Battle, he's a freshman, so those are the vulnerabilities that I think. And then when you talk about zone play, I mean, you hit it right on the money. You bring up Joe Burrow's Pro Football Focus, 10 yards across the middle of the field. He has a grade out of 95 flat. I mean, the kid does not miss across the middle of the field. And same thing over 20 yards downfield. I mean, he loves to go right between the hashes. This is a quarterback who's very, very accurate. But I do like those 50-50 situations on the outside with Surtain and Diggs, especially the way that Diggs is playing. You create a turnover early, you sway the momentum, you go with Najee Harris and Brian Robinson on a pulverizing 65, 70-yard drive. I mean, Jerry, you have a pretty good game plan going into this LSU matchup. You might have to hit up Nick Saban.
Yeah. I just watched a lot of that Auburn game, and I'm noticing that they're being very physical with them. They're pressing them, and they're throwing the timing off. Like they really are throwing the timing off. Like when they want to try to hit inside to do it with it, they have to wait. Joe Burrow has to wait maybe 2 or 3 seconds, but he can't because Derek Brown's coming up through the interior, and he can't be blocked by 2 guys. So when it throws the timing off, and you can get a pass rush on them, it doesn't help. Now, it didn't stop LSU, of course, because Joe Burrow still had 350 yards, but it's better to play that style because when you play zone, because that offense is predicated to kill zone, predicated to kill any type of zone. And especially if you have 2 linebackers in the middle, and you have a receiver matched up in the slot, and the corner that's checking him, he's going back, it's over. You're dead. So I definitely think that this is going to be a game where you're going to have to be physical up front, try to establish more of an identity in the bounce. And even if LSU, I expect LSU to get yards. I expect LSU to make plays and get the receivers to definitely beat some of our corners. But as long as you can try to establish an identity there and say, hey, listen, we're standing tall, we're not going anywhere, we're going to get physical on you, and we want to have these 50-50 opportunities, then you got to take it. That's fine. I mean, it's not like we're playing against Clemson, how you're playing man-to-man coverage. That's a bad idea because you're playing against receivers that are 6'4", 6'5", and they're really just throwing 50. That's predicated for 50-50 balls. I just felt like Alabama had a bad game plan against Clemson secondary. But this game you can because your corners are bigger. And, this is the type of offense that can stop. This is the type of defense that can slow down RPOs. So I definitely think we'll be a lot more physical. The question is whether if they'll move the safeties up a little bit. If they can try to leave their corners on an island, move the safeties up a little bit to help out Shane Lee and Christian Harris when it comes to coverage. That's the question I kind of have. But besides that, if they can stop the run, then I think that they can beat them. You got to stop the run. It's not like it's a huge thing, but it's more of a momentum slinger, like we saw in the Auburn game when Auburn was doing a great job, pass coverage, being physical up front, and of course Auburn's offense couldn't go in. But what kind of killed the game for Auburn? When Clyde Edwards Jr. when he got it going, when he finally got that run to that one drop the end zone, the game's over.
Yeah.
Because then the defense was tired, the running game, Clyde was physical, holes started to open up then. So if we can stop the run, slow down the process, be more physical, slow down their timing, and our offense can get it going, this is going to be a game where I think we can definitely have a chance to win.
Yeah, I think this was a great breakdown, and I think the timing routes and letting those corners really set in and challenge LSU's very talented wide receivers. I think you got to stop Clyde Edwards-Helaire, very dangerous player that we've talked about. They have very good tight ends. Joe Burrow is coming in with a lot of confidence, throwing for 350 yards per game. I'd be curious to get the over-under on how many yards that he throws for. I mean, would you say that he throws for over 275? Would you say that he throws for 300 yards against Alabama on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll throw for around 270, 280, maybe 300 yards. And that's
going to include some points then.
Yeah, I just think so. I think Auburn has the best defense in the SEC. But the thing that would just help Bama out is that you don't gotta. Joe Burrow he can have all these passing yards as long as you don't allow him in the red zone. Like Clemson, Clemson played Alabama. Tua was carving them up all through the passing game. Mm-hmm. Most important thing is they got in that red zone. They didn't score. Yeah. So as long as Alabama cannot allow Joe Burrow and Clyde and this offense to just erupt, explode, and score, this defense will be fine. If the defense can get momentum, if the defense can slow them down, it allows our offense to get it going. The offense got to score too, but I'm confident that our offense can score because I don't think that LSU, they're going to play their game plan. They're going to play the same thing that Bama might do. They're going to play bump and run. They're going to have Christian Fulton because he's the best. He's a man-on-man coverage guy, so he's going to be playing bump and run. Derek Stingley, he's going to be playing bump and run. They're going to have their nickels. They're going to be playing bump and run. They're going to have some safety, and they're going to have Brand Delpit. He's going to be in the box. Both. That's why I'm saying, Kyle, this is a 50-50 team. Like this is the most even football game I think I've ever seen because both teams are literally the same team with literally the same formation, RPOs, bump and run. Like it's crazy. They're literally the same team.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, it's almost like which team can execute better, which team is going to have the turnovers, which team are going to have more penalties. That's going to be the deciding factor because the game plans are literally the exact same. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's finally here. So I'm glad you finally got through. I knew you're going to have some good insight. So it was a great call as usual. So I appreciate you calling in, Jarek.
Yep. Thank you as always.
All right, take it easy. Always great stuff from Jerry out in Buffalo. So I'm gonna end the calls there. This is a good show, good lengthy show. Plenty of great calls. You can rewatch on our YouTube channel. And of course, go to BamaInsider.com. We're breaking this game down. Become a part of the BamaInsider.com family. Save 50% off your first year at BamaInsider.com. Get a $50 gift card to the Rivals fan store. Get Bama gear, 3 additional months on BamaInsider.com. Promo code is Bama1vs2. Hey, please give a thumbs up and be sure and like and subscribe to our channel. We're coming to you. We're trying to develop quality content that you deserve. Special thanks to the men and women in the United States military serving overseas, protecting our freedom. We appreciate what you do. Great calls tonight. Great community. Be good people out there. We appreciate. We know we got a lot of LSU fans on the channel tonight. Thank you for joining us. Be good people out there. Be safe. Take care of each other. I'll catch you guys soon on BamaInsider.com tomorrow, Monday. Here's a schedule rundown. Nick Saban press conference, 12 p.m. Central Time, right here on BamaInsider.com. And then on Tuesday and on Monday, you'll get player interviews, and you will also get player highlights. You will also get to hear from Nick Saban on Wednesday evening as he talks about this game for the final time. Going into this matchup, we'll have another call. We'll now have another call-in show on Thursday when we'll be talking score predictions. Be sure and like and subscribe, and be sure and take advantage of your BamaInsider.com flash sale coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is Kyle Henderson. Thank you very much for watching. Be good people. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Good night.